All right, let's switch gears now because we are stepping into one of the most powerful tools in e commerce psychology, which is urgency. This is the part where your product page doesn't just inform, it moves people to act. Because it's one thing for someone to like your product, it's a complete different thing for them to feel like they need to buy it now. That's what urgency does. It compresses decision making. It lights a small fire that says, don't wait, do it now, or you might miss out. And in the world of digital selling, that emotion, that tension between desire and time is incredibly powerful. Now, why does urgency work so well? It taps into something deeply human, our fear of missing out, which we also say FOMO, not just on the product itself, but on the experience, the opportunity, the reward. Psychologists call it loss aversion. People feel the pain of losing something more strongly than the pleasure of gaining something. So when we show them that a product might run out or that a price is about to change, we are triggering that pain point. We are not selling more features. We're creating a moment where they imagine regret. And in that moment, they act, they click, they buy because no one wants to be the person who came back tomorrow and found the one thing that's gone now. But the most important urgency is not a trick. It's not about manipulating people. It only works when it is real. Because here's the thing, modern shoppers are smart, really smart. They've seen fake countdown timers, they've seen only two left, banners that magically say the same thing every time that they refresh the page. And that fake pressure, it does not convert, it backfires. It makes your store feel shady, it breaks trust. So, the first rule of urgency is be honest if something's truly limited. Say so. If a sale is truly ending tonight, mean it. But if you're just using urgency as a gimmick, you'll see your bounce rates go up and your long term reputation take a hit. The second thing to know about urgency is timing. You can't trust someone who isn't ready if your product page doesn't clearly explain. So, what the product is, why it is valuable, and how to get it, adding urgency won't help. In fact, it'll just make people feel anxious and pressured, which leads to indecision. So, urgency should be the nudge, not the shove. It's what you use after you have built clarity and trust, not before. Think of it like this, if the product page is your digital salesperson, then urgency is the part where they lean in and say, just so you know, we only have a few left. And they usually go fast. It's gentle, it's respectful, but it works. And the third thing, urgency doesn't always have to be about stock or time, it can also be emotional. Think about things like get in time for Diwali or last chance to give this before Rakhi. That's urgency tied to a moment, a life event, a deadline that's already meaningful to your buyer. And because that urgency is connected to their life, not your store, it feels more natural, more genuine. That's the kind of urgency that builds connection instead of just applying pressure. Now, let's touch on something subtle but very important, urgency. Urgency works best when it is used sparingly. If every single product on your store says only three left, people start tuning it out. It becomes noise. So use it like spice, just enough to create flavor and moment. Not so much that it overwhelms the customer. Reserve it for special launches, fast moving inventory, or seasonal campaigns where speed genuinely matters. That way, when urgency does show up, it feels real. So, to wrap this up, urgency is not about panic, it's about clarity. It's about showing your buyer that now is a good time to take action, not because you're pushing them, but because the opportunity makes sense. If you use it right, urgency turns browsers into buyers. But if you overuse it or fake it or lead with it too early, it creates the opposite effect. It makes people pull back. So use urgency like a scalpel, not a hammer. When placed carefully, it turns hesitation into motion. And that's what great e-commerce is all about. And here's one more thing to consider. Urgency doesn't always have to be loud to be effective. Sometimes the softest signals are the strongest nudges. A small note under the price that says usually sells out in 2 days, or shipping back that reads order in the next 3 hours for the same day dispatch. These are micro messages, but they plant a seed. They create a subtle pressure that feels natural, not forced. That is the key. When urgency feels like a part of the story, it works. When it feels like a sales tactic, it gets ignored. So think about how your urgency messaging fits the tone of your brand. If you're selling premium wellness products, shouting hurry might feel off. But a line like restock only twice a month fits the vibe and still creates motion. That's the nuance. Urgency done with restraint actually increases trust because it shows you respect your buyer's intelligence while still giving them a reason to act. So, as you think about using urgency on your product pages, don't just ask, how do I get people to buy faster? Ask, how do I create momentum without creating pressure? Because urgency isn't about forcing decisions, it is about helping someone makes a decision that they already wanted to make, just with a little more confidence, clarity, and a little less delay. When done right, urgency feels helpful, not pushy, and that's what makes it convert.